like I say, for now. Is everybody comfortable with the claims? Have you looked at them? I know Randy has, or initial one's at. I'll make a motion to approve the claims. Okay.
Brad was okay?
Yep, good.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Okay. Not a whole lot out.
Where are you going out west?
When or why? Or where?
Where?
I'm going to that big Winchester show
Okay.
in Cody, Wyoming for 3 days. It starts, we'll set up Thursday and it's Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And then after, then Sunday, I'm gonna go see a guy up in Bozeman, Montana. And I know up there I want to stop to see him. And in Big Timber, Montana is the Sharps manufacturing facility. And they've got a shop, brick and mortar building that you can go into and buy stuff. Plus they'll take you on tours. It's not a big outfit, that Sharps Rifle Company. They'll take you on a tour of the building or the facilities. I'm gonna do that and then
So,
I'm gonna run to Missoula, and then I'm gonna go south down through Missoula, and I'm going to, I'm gonna drive down and go to Darby, Montana. That's where they film Yellowstone.
What?
The Chief Joseph Ranch. And
Really?
I'm gonna get a picture of me standing outside the gate. I'm hoping Beth Dutton will come out and put her arm around me.
well,
They got that Yellowstone Marathon on TV all weekend.
Okay,
I'm kind of hooked on
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have,
it.
yeah.
There's some nasty people.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah.
Gee.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody quite as nasty as Beth. But anyhow, I looked on the map and it's only a mile south of Darby and right fairly close to the interstate. And you're not gonna be able to drive around anything, but I think you can pull up to the gateway. It says, cause it says Yellowstone Ranch. And what it is, it's the Chief Joseph Ranch. That is an active working ranch, 2,500 acre ranch and they do, it's not a little bit of dude ranching and this and that. You can stay there when they're not filming. I would like to see the house. I would love to be able to go in the facility and look at that house. That was built back in the 20s and it was a lodge. You know, and then it eventually went and started being used as a private home. And yet to this day, it's being used as a private home. And I like them big lodges and those kind of houses and stuff. Something to do for a couple more days out there. And I think that we can run from Missoula, Montana down through, that's through the Bitterroot Mountains and
right
stuff.
to the Bitterroot Valley.
I think we run right down through that valley and make it's like a 10-hour, 9-hour run to run from Missoula down through there, over through Jackson and end up in Rock Springs, Wyoming, and then we'll come home. So I just spend a day
Oh,
touring and
No,
looking around.
well, I used to hang around out there.
that's good. That's really.
50 years ago, Darby was an old logging town.
Yeah.
And they had a strawberry
I know,
festival. I never did see
rained hard
the
down there.
strawberry.
Oh, we didn't get
festival.
Yeah, rain.
I just thought it'd be,
It was okay though.
Kids have fun.
Yeah, they had fun.
Yeah, the previous generation or something.
Yes.
That's not on regular TV though.
How many groups are there?
We watched it. There's about 100 kids.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
So,
Two
I don't
Peacock
know,
or Paramount?
12
that Peacock.
peacocks or something like that. maybe.
I'm hooked on that show though. It's,
Something like that, so.
some of the episodes are pretty stupid, but
well, yeah, some of it's.
I gotta keep going back.
It's kind of carried
I've been
away,
to
some of
camp
the things they
for
do.
26 years.
It's a
25
movie,
years
it's
or something,
entertaining.
so,
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know,
I think he should sell though.
anyway.
$500 million is a lot of money.
See, I don't think I've ever.
Did you see the 1880?
No, it's
No,
You need to
first I've
watch
ever been
that.
there. It's
when's it on?
kind of
Well,
neat. It's got a
they,
It's over.
better lake.
It's over,
hiking trails.
but you can stream it.
It's a little more
Friends of ours up in
outdoorsy
Kelowna
rustic than Easton is.
got to talking about the 1883 part of it and said,
I imagine he's
Filmed it
changed
all.
quite a bit since I've.
so we went up there a
Yeah,
couple of nights,
my
2 or 3 nights,
old
5
guys
hours at a
come
time
down
and
there.
watch the whole thing.
3 weeks,
Uh,
so we'll check it out. And get
you know, commercial free.
see what it is.
That
It's
was
been
neat.
40 years. since
I
I've been
liked-
down there.
Yeah,
I like the 1883
I
better
think I
than
got
the
out
new
of
stuff.
scouts.
yeah.
Because
19 or 20.
the 1883 was a little more believable. I mean, when they're shooting
Yeah, I mean,
people and
They
doing
were
this and that.
supposed to be
I mean,
going from
even
like
when,
Texas to Oregon.
And that's how,
town, so-
that's what got them out
Hasn't
there.
been it after that. So.
They didn't
Well,
make it
they-
to Oregon.
There's supposed to be another sequel to that from like 1930 up to 1970.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't made it yet. But you need to see that 1883. That is a
Yeah.
good Western.
I'll watch it next time I see it on TV.
But it's 10 hours. I think there's 10 episodes.
Well, Adam, what do you have?
Not a lot today, working on some construction out there in the field, X61, and they just have to finish up the shoulders and should be done with it next couple days. The bridge decks on all 3 bridges have been essentially a power blasted off. There's a machine and it comes across and it's got this jet, it's like 17,000 PSI, I think is the
Wow.
jet blasts off the bad concrete, and then they gotta come and do a little bit of jackhammering, so,
Any surprises?
I don't know.
You didn't blow through the deck anywhere?
No, well, the deck west of the quarry is like 20 inches thick, so kind of hard to blast through
Yeah.
that. The other 2 are beam bridges, so they're a little bit thinner. My understanding is the contractor's gonna start setting up, get ready to pour caps on those bridges here next couple weeks or so.
What's the stay off date? How long does it take to cure that out?
Oh, those with these temperatures should only be like 3 days or something,
Oh, okay.
but, so I get that done, but then they gotta do the approaches and the railings and stuff like that, so we're ways out on getting them done. We're still hoping to get that, Quarry Bridge done, hopefully by the 25th is kind of the hope. Sounds like asphalt, we had a pre-con with the asphalt contractors and they say the 25th, but that's kind of a weekend, not, it'll probably be the week after, so. Beginning of August on that thing, so. Busy time of construction. Guys and our crews are ditching and replacing culverts and stuff like that, so. Be pretty hot week this week though, so,
Very hot.
yeah, so. Other than that, I don't know, got the bid packet out for the concrete bids for the parking lot last week, so we got some interest in that. Other than that, I don't know. Any questions for me or anything going on or?
Is this are they digging around the landfill area again? Because we'll take more dirt if you get up in that area.
Nothing planned for this year. I know after we get done with Oakville, some are gonna be out on Iowa City Road out there. The rest will be up on Indian Creek, so. We'll see how that goes for the rest of
But
the
anytime
summer.
you're within shouting distance.
Yeah. Probably, I think next week, supposed to start doing seal coating up there on those roads around the power plant. We had those being asphalted sometime through construction, but we decided to
Chip and seal.
chip seal them and see if we can maybe save some money that way, I guess, so. But other than that, we, like I said, we got agreements for the right of way on 160th. So I'll get that buttoned up over the next month or two, and hopefully move on to a construction project a little later on in the year. So.
Okay.
Any questions, any complaints out there? Other than the roads are dusty and dry and all that.
No,
So,
not hearing anything.
okay.
No news is good news.
Well, I guess so. So,
You enjoy the calm before the storm.
Oh, yeah.
yeah. well,
Any dates on 78?
I've heard end of September, something like that. End of September, October, something like that. So,
Yeah, say they're going through and cutting out sections again.
yeah, they were patching and prepping for an overlay. So.
When will they start their overlay? It'll be at this summer, won't
So they were gonna do our project before they do the DOTs. Just because they had to do a bunch of prep work and submarine and things like that, so. So I don't know if they begin ours, let's say they begin August 1st. And they got 3 weeks plus or minus through us, so maybe end of August, beginning of September, maybe,
Maybe have a smooth route.
maybe, I don't know.
it? For how long?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not anything will be an improvement.
the western portion, they're kind of doing it different than I would have, but maybe they know what they're doing too, so, or not, I don't know.
I don't have anything else.
All right, guys, well,
Thank you.
yeah, no problem.
Hey, sir.
Thank you. Take it easy, guys.
See you. Thank you.
Bye.
Can we meet tomorrow? 4:30. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Julie will be there. Good. I haven't talked to Mike for, I don't know, talked to him last week. We got a lot of stuff we need to talk about. I don't know what we need to do. Is the city gonna annex us? Yeah, I think so. I hope so, yeah. Yeah, I talked to a couple of them one-on-one. Oh, good. Closing's Friday. Can't see the place from the road, the court's so tall. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how they're gonna do that, contract to crops. How they normally do that with the crops. Since we had it set to before it was planted, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Matter.
not that long ago, actually, less than 2 months ago.
Hey, but if the farmer was gonna get booted off, he should have been booted off last September. Or had noticed that he could possibly be,
Yeah,
so you probably gotta honor the lease till September, or till.
So we get crop revenue.
I don't know about that, we didn't wanna get the rent. You greedy.
Gotta be. We spent a lot of money on that property. So.
Yeah, but if you knew what he paid for the hires, you'd feel sorry for him.
Yeah, we gotta get on that. After Friday, it's the priority, we're gonna get that engineer, and
make sure the place is secure.
yeah, I wanna get it sold. I wanna get an engineer, get it sold. Get the barns removed.
Now, how much land you gonna sell with the house?
That's why we need to have it engineered. I would say if we can do from the front to the back. That might be an acre and a half.
You're gonna sell an acre and a half with the house?
Well, depends how far it is to the back of the yard, because you have to proportion it, because it sets away from the back evergreens. So that's why I'd like to get somebody that do that out. And then the council would like to bring K Avenue, K River down to the backside.
Oh. Oh,
I think it'd be a pretty good deal.
which one's K Road?
Beer Can Alley.
Oh, okay. They wanna run it.
They'd like to have it extended. Drink it. So we gotta have fun. Yeah, we don't want that sitting empty.
Well, with the corner there, you can't see the house, the road, and anybody can go in there.
And we can put up a camera.
On the lane there?
Yeah.
Is that wireless?
I have one that runs off battery that will go right to my phone for like trail cams. So we can do that. It'll be live on the phone. And I might be able to put
What, are you gonna just face it east then, the camera, or?
I would do a couple of them out there. You know, one back or in the corner where it shows the house. And then do one on the road going in. And we can put a gate across the front too. I got some gates we can put in front. And that might be a good thing to do, is gate it and lock it. And if anybody goes back there, then they're trespassing, we can post it.
Okay.
When's Doug gonna head south?
As soon as the closing, I think he's got a place down there and everything. I talked to him at the elevator store. He's backed up, ready to go.
Good.
But you said he'd never go down there, but he,
I think
well, both the boys are down.
both kids are down there. So. He's excited.
Well, good. But he's moving to Arkansas, and the kids are in Louisiana. That's what I heard.
Is he on the southern tip? I mean,
Yeah,
really
he's-
close.
Yeah.
I think he could shout.
Well, they want to be somewhere where there's a hill he can see from, because Louisiana, all it's down looking up.
I was down in Louisiana twice. Both of them built houses and it was hot.
Yeah,
Oh, it was hot yesterday.
Down in that country, you wanna have everything done that you're gonna do by 10 in the morning.
We spent 30 days up in Katrina building houses down there. And it was hot.
Yeah. 85 of 80% humidity, just a normal day.
I don't know if I ever seen the temperature at 85. It felt like it was 100.
Oh,
I was younger. I couldn't do it today.
yeah, but then I was out on the west coast up in Oregon, Bandon, Oregon, with the ocean being so cool, it was constant 75 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
And most people walk around with a long sleeve shirt or a jacket in the morning, and someone says, yeah, if it gets up to 80 here, we gotta rethink what we're doing. That's hot, you know?
San Diego, I love that. It's about 74,
Oh.
75 all the time.
5 more minutes.
See. I've heard Adam mistake through this. Should I ask him?
He knew about it because he asked me for the internet policy this morning, so I scanned it and sent it to him, so. Maybe you just get on back at the office or something. but- Mhm.
You guys see that Friday they was putting out that Muscatine County was supposed to have a derecho go through Sunday, they ended up canceling that.
Yeah, yesterday there was all kinds of weather forecasted and it never happened.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
I think they got it north of us.
some people north and south of us got 2 or 3 inches of rain yesterday.
Yeah.
We didn't get nothing.
So,
Eric Slutz was on the phone with Dale Boyd up in Iowa City there at 11 o'clock or something, or maybe 10:30 or so. He said it was raining sideways in Iowa
Really?
City, so it was getting at it.
Yeah, they had.
And they were talking, they were sitting there getting ready to pull out with that float. They had a float there in my shed that had a live band on it. They were a little concerned about the electronics.
Is that the one with the cop car
No,
pulling it?
I don't think so, no. No, it was some
Oh,
woman, some girl. It was the
Yeah.
Northeast
Yeah.
Quadrant,
Yeah.
the group that built a float, Troy Pugh and Eric Slutz,
Yeah.
that group. I don't remember exactly what it was. They backed in on the east side of my shop and loaded everybody and then took it out of there just before the parade. And
Because
then,
it did look like rain.
yeah, they were worried about that.
there was clouds to the northwest.
They brought it back, tore it down back in there too. So, but that's why I was talking with Eric, and we were concerned about the weather. And he was making phone calls,
It missed a good opportunity.
and it was going sideways in Iowa City. I said, well, we sure as heck don't need that here.
Somewhere up in there, they got like 4 inches of rain.
I think up in Bettendorf.
Was it
That slides up there.
Yeah, those new homes that they told them not to build there, when
Yeah.
they took the trees out,
Did they get wet?
they
They
had
flooded.
mudslides.
Oh my gosh, did they really?
Mud, and this is like the second or third time that it's
Really?
happened, yeah.
Gotta have trees on the hill.
And one lady says, I went to the council meetings and she says, I just don't think they listen to me. It's a bad deal. And
Yeah, especially on, mudslides and stuff. Sometimes your insurance
Yeah,
don't look at it as coverage.
I told her, I says, that looks like a construction site. Somebody's gonna be in trouble over that deal.
Boy, some of these cities are just putting them everywhere though.
Well, but there, a week ago, they had flash floods and we were supposed to get 3 or 4 inches. And
Yeah.
We got 3/10.
Yeah. Well, I think it's close enough. Paul, you want to get started on this? Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. I received a call last week about e-cigarettes and vaping and whether or not that would be incorporated already into our policy on with the smoking regulations. So essentially what we follow now is Iowa law, the Smoke Free Air Act. And after a little research, I found out that none of those vaping products are covered by the Smoke Free Air Act. So as a result, people could use vaping products. And so the question to the board today is, do you want to amend? Essentially, it would be something we would add to the handbook to reiterate the non-smoking, and then whether or not we would consider adding e-cigarettes and vaping items as well.
Yeah, I think we need to definitely look into that. What do you guys think?
Well, I don't know, what is vape, e-cigarettes, is any of that toxic to other people?
Yes.
It is?
Yeah.
Okay. Like secondhand, just as bad as secondhand smoke?
Way I understand.
Okay, see, I did not know. I was gonna say, it's no different than if it's totally safe to be around. That's about as bad as saying you can't chew gum in a county vehicle. If it's not gonna hurt anything, but if it does, no, I understand that, I get it. So I suppose, it's okay with me to add that to the thing. And, I don't want somebody doing something in a confined space that's going to harm another person. I mean, that's the reason you can't smoke in a county facility or in a county vehicle or so on and so forth. So,
I just can't believe it's not on the state.
This is not Iowa law.
So what year they passed that?
I'm okay with adding it to the restriction that you can't do that. I mean, I don't, what's everybody else think? What do the other department heads think? What do you two? Sandy?
I think it needs to be added because they found out that vaping and e-cigarettes are actually worse than regular cigarettes.
Okay.
What they have contained in them.
Okay. Well, Paul, it sounds like and you two,
Yep.
Brad and Chris,
No,
you agree, don't you?
yeah, now Iowa law permits e-cigarettes in public places. Paul?
It would be in county-owned facilities, essentially. So it'd still be, people are still able to do it in open areas, but we would just put that restriction just where the Smoke Free Air Act applies as well.
And in our policy, our smoke free for county, that includes vehicles, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And is that on premises? I see some language in here about premises also.
Yeah, and right now, we don't have a separate policy relating to smoking. We just follow the Smoke Free Air Act. So what we would be doing would be just pulling that in and then specifically tying in the vaping products as well. So I'll get you that language so you can take a look at it before it's put into place. But yeah, I have some counties that have, designated smoking areas, but those premises would be defined by the way the current Iowa law works.
Yeah, I was just reading through your email and I thought I'd seen on premises. I haven't seen that either. I don't know where I seen that, but I thought I seen it here this morning when I was looking at it.
Our policy right now says you can't be on county premises. You can't walk outside the courthouse and smoke a cigarette.
You have to be so many feet from.
When you walk out of the secondary roads, into the parking
I
lot,
think
smoke
for
a
county
cigarette.
buildings, you have to be 20 feet or something, 30 feet. I don't remember what it is. It's been so long since it's been an issue. I don't remember.
Exactly.
Why don't we look at that, all that, and then when we get it presented, then we can put it back in people's minds and get it posted again, wherever we had before. I don't remember.
That's why we have the ashtrays or the trash cans with the ashtrays at the end of the sidewalks.
Yeah, so we just need to,
That's
Probably
that's
over
the
that.
distance, whatever that is. So
that would probably.
Okay, well, it says, you know, this,
I don't remember.
what I've got in my hand says no smoking on county premises.
That's where I see.
Is that the policy? Is that what we had? It wasn't like that.
I didn't think of this,
Why?
but I seen that on here this morning. Yep, there it is. And that's why I didn't recognize that, but I seen it in that email back and forth. Can we just look at that and see what it is, kind of bring it back up for it? We all know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
And then we got two other things. We have a internet policy.
Yeah, how'd that come up? What's going on there? Just a review? Paul?
And Sandy, do you know what this item is?
No, it was on the agenda when I got back from my schooling, so I thought,
I think it was brought up that we revisit, make sure that nothing's changed as far as that anybody's using out there, as far as, you know.
Improper use of the internet.
Yeah, I don't know.
During
if anything's
working
came
hours.
up that we, throughout the state, that we have to add to this.
Okay,
To review
yeah,
the
I'm
policy,
making notes.
make sure it's up to date.
Yep, I'll go back and we'll review it. Review it again with the board and then see if there's any sort of changes or best practices that we could tighten things up a bit.
Yes.
Well, and just make sure it still pertains to what's going on right now. I mean, there's no problem. It doesn't sound like someone, no department head or anybody asked us to put this on here. It's just,
Correct.
it's just a review. Okay.
And then the next item would be a conversation about adjusting the new hire vacation time.
Okay.
So the department head team got together, we talked about a few options and would request the board of supervisor to consider when we hire a new employee, that new employee would start essentially with 1 week of vacation time already in their books that they could use right away. The rest of the handbook, the policy dealing with vacation would stay the same. So that was part of the benefit, to have some immediate effect to help us recruit some new employees. And then also not a huge change then to the rest of the accrual. So the only difference would be you start with 1 week of vacation. That would be driven based on the number of hours you're normally scheduled to work. And then they would follow the handbook policy just as it's currently being done.
but the big question was if it was going to be retroactive for employees hired within a certain amount of time previous, correct?
Yeah, that was the department head team was very open and they understood the difficulties, the pros and cons to it, that if the board were to accept this and put it into effect July 1, you know, it's going to be one of those policies that I don't know that it's even an option to make everybody happy. So if we put it into effect July 1, well, that's great for anybody being hired after July 1. But what if we had somebody that was hired in May? So wherever we decide that we're going to draw the line is going to be potentially problematic to that group that didn't get in. So we had some good conversation And, I think we ended up with, well, let's just kick it back to the Board of Supervisors because they make so much money doing this job. So,
I knew you were gonna say that. Kick us
so
out.
yeah, they really didn't, we talked about, we had some great conversation to say, you know what? Let's just put it in place July 1 and move forward and just be done with it. That'll be clean. But then also some good conversation about those people affected within the last few months. Do you go back a year? But again, no matter when you would do it, it could be problematic to those who don't get it.
Can we prorate that for those people that been hired in the last year? We'd say starting July 1st is the new thing, but anybody that was hired in the last year, can we prorate it?
I don't know if you'd have to go back that far or not, because after a year, it's not relevant anymore.
Yes,
So
okay.
if you go back maybe 6 months the first year, then you would cover everybody, and I think it would be fair, but it's just something we'd have to talk about and think about.
Yeah, but we need to go ahead and do something here, take action, because we've got some new employees coming on. Do we not?
Yeah. Paul, what's your thoughts on this?
I think you could, if the board's open to it, I think you could put it into effect starting now. And then I can go back and work with the auditor's office to say, hey, if we drew a line here, who does it affect? If we drew a line here, to get an idea of, do we have people that were hired within the last 6 months? So I think you could put in place the policy moving forward, and then we could have a conversation here next week about, do we look to put something in retroactively?
Okay, I think that, yeah, because we're gonna do it. We think that it's benefit to do this. It's just taking care of the people that were hired in the last
Yeah.
6 months to a year to make that fair for them. So, yeah, I think that
I agree. I
let's
think
put
it's
it
something
into, put it into effect, and then, Paul, you work with everybody on, who all it's gonna affect and what we can do to make that, and just go on.
Sounds good.
I'm happy with that, do it that way.
We do have it where we can make a motion on this today. As possible action.
Yeah,
Do you
well,
think we ought to do a motion on that without that information, or I think we ought to wait another week since it could be put back in? What are you thinking, Paul?
I think you could put it in place if to vote to put it into place starting effective today. And then that way, because I know there were some people that may be being hired this week or even, maybe next. And then we could
Looked like
have,
a couple last month, at the end of last month also, that's.
okay, yeah,
I feel that we should put it in right now.
Okay.
It says possible action. We've got that taken care of. We've said we were gonna do it. We did it. Now we're just gonna go back. Paul will clean up the stuff to make it fair for everybody, and we'll be done.
I think as a motion.
I'll take it.
Yeah. You want me to start over and try to put that in a motion?
Would you please?
Okay, I'll make a motion that we,
As of July 1st.
as of July 1st, put in place the policy of a week's vacation upon hiring. With Paul going to go back and see how it affects people that were hired a month ago or 2 months ago. And possibly take care of that, make sure it's fair for everybody.
That was my question.
How you like that for a motion?
That's good.
That's a big, long motion. Sandy, you get all that?
Sure.
Chris?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any more discussion? That was exactly what I was thinking about, you was making that motion that included a possible look back.
Yes, yes.
So I'm good with that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Paul, anything else out there in the HR world?
we had a real good department head meeting. The team wants to get together a little bit more frequently. So we're going to try to put some ideas together as far as when that could happen. But again, a lot of positives from my end. I'll appreciate Roxana bringing this forward to the full board and saying, hey, is this something we could do countywide? So I think that's always beneficial to be consistent across the board.
Absolutely.
Okay, one last thing. All of a sudden, how does this affect our union?
The union, we would still want to talk to the union employees. So with the sheriff's office, vacation is a mandatory subject of bargaining. So that is something we would have to discuss. With secondary roads, vacation is no longer considered a mandatory subject, but we have negotiated that language within their contract.
Well,
So this motion today would go into effect for the non-union folks. And then I would need to follow up with the union reps to make sure they're okay with it as well.
yeah,
Okay,
okay, because it sounds like there shouldn't be any problem with the sheriff's department, but I want to keep it even and consistent among our union and our other employees. So we can't forget the secondary roads union,
and sure.
but we probably can't, well, yeah, and the sheriffs. And I guess all of that can be taken care of in at negotiation time, but if they're hiring people in the meantime, but anyhow, we just don't want to forget them.
Correct. Yep.
We want to make
absolutely.
sure they're included. Okay. That's all I got.
And Paul, on this, the smoking policy and internet, should we put that on the agenda for any action next week, or what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yep. I think we'll be able to review that in more detail and possible board action next week.
Okay. Does anybody else in the group have any conversations or on what we just talked about, approved, or anything coming up on the policies they'd like to add? I take the silence as no.
All right.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
All with possibly this COVID supposedly over, should we get back to quarterly department head meetings?
Yeah, that's,
Or,
yep, that's what the group thought would be, to say, maybe not every month, but quarterly for sure. And then potentially, if we're gonna do special training, we could add a date. And if there were any big labor law changes, would be another time to get together. So for sure, at least quarterly, and then we just needed to decide when we want to start that. So it might be sooner here in the next month or two. There's a bunch of questions were coming up, so good group.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
see you, Paul.
Okay. Is there any other business that needs to be looked at? I don't think we're gonna check off the list.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Okay, I'll say it.
Meeting here. Okay.